Hello everybody and a very warm welcome back to the channel. Today we're having a look at the latest update to the LVFR A330neo, and it all focuses on a new EFB, allowing you to download your flight plans on simbrief with coordinates for transatlantic flights, and a few other bits too. So we're going to take a look here at Heathrow with this Virgin Atlantic livery VTOM, and we'll go through how to configure the EFB, how to use the new EFB for an example flight from here to JFK operating the Virgin Atlantic VS3. Hit like and subscribe, share your tips, tricks, thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll get straight into it. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is create your flight plan on simbrief before loading in. And you can see here we've configured for the VS3 out of London Heathrow for JFK with an alternate of Washington Dulles on this A330-900. The airframe is Golf Victor Tango Oscar Mike VTOM. An airtime of 7 hours 4 minutes and a block time of just over 7 hours 30. If we scroll further down, we can see on the load sheet area here our fuel burn of 36.8 tonnes, 335 passengers on board, and a block fuel of 45,318. So we need to make sure we've got that loaded in, make sure our payload matches as closely as possible, and we need to make sure our route goes in correctly too. Now, you might have noticed at the top here, flight plan summary says 24,000 feet. What we'll do is we'll ignore that because we're going to look further down on the route string here. We're already going to be looking at 360. So actually that's going to be our initial cruise to begin with, or even 380. Now, naturally, if you want to set a very specific cruise altitude, so you don't have to think about, well, actually at that waypoint I need to go up an extra 2,000 feet or 1,000 feet. You can do that by editing your flight plan, scrolling down to this altitude box, and then typing in whichever altitude you want based on the direction of flight that you're traveling in, and then you just rerun the route string and it will build your new route with a specific altitude. So having discussed both, we'll use this one now that we're generating, and you can see here in the summary the altitude's now changed to 38,000 feet, and it also impacts therefore the fuel burn and our block fuel too. You can see here lots of different circles. We've got our en route diversions input here, so Reykjavik, QX as well, which is Gander International for a diversion should something go wrong with that side of the flight, and then we've got JFK or Washington Dulles as well. So a number of different backup options, and a departure alternate of knock as well should we have to turn around prior to committing to the channel. So various different diversionary options for us. Not that we envisage using any, but that's what all of these different rings and discs mean. The next step then is configuring our flight plan and putting it all into the FMS and having a little look at this new EFB, which you can see is just over here powered up. So it looks a little different. Now of course if you have a Navigraph Ultimate subscription, you will be able to click the charts tab here and link that in to your own Navigraph Ultimate account. And if you press the Plan Flight tab, it asks for your simbrief ID. For that, go to your user account settings in simbrief, and in a tab that says your simbrief data, you will find your pilot ID. Once that's in, press enter and submit, and it's automatically pulled in our simbrief flight plan, again with all of those details there in the summary that we just spoke about on the other screen when we displayed Chrome. Now we have some different options here. We have sync plan, sync payload, and sync fuel. You may have noticed we haven't done anything at all with this at the moment, so the init A page and everything is clear. The only thing we have done on the overhead panel is made sure that ADRS 1, 2, and then the middle one 3 are all aligned to nav. So return 1 to nav, 2 to nav, and then the middle one to nav number 3, and then the ADRS will align. Initially what we'll do is type EGLL/KJFK to begin our route string. We can pop in the VS3 for our flight number, and we know the cost index from our flight plan is 15 for today. And we go to IRS align and align on reference. Now that is done, we will look back at the tablet and we'll press sync plan. Syncing finished. And we go to the flight plan page and we can see now everything is built in the MCDU for us, including our coordinates, which is the first time the LVFR A330neo has been able to support these. You can see now that they have them in there. And then the other side of the Atlantic crossing, all of our arrival information into JFK. Now you may have noticed that it's decided on the runway, it's already put in the departure and the arrival as well, the SIDS and the stars. So that's something just to double check. So we'll press flight plan, we'll go into here, press departure, and we can see it's already selected 09 right and the constant 5 Juliet departure for today as the example that we're using. And then if we go back to init A and go to init B, at the moment our fuel on board 52,847 kilos, gross weight 222,577 kilograms, and our gross weight centre of gravity is 23.3%. Now, if we press sync payload, those figures have changed. 224,932, and sync fuel. Voila. And that's updated as well. And with that, the init B page has also updated itself too. So then we can turn our attention to the performance page. We can now press this calculator icon in the EFB to bring up a new performance tab. So it automatically feeds in our configuration. If we change anything like we've just done because we've just synced payload and fuel, we'll press the little refresh icon there and it will refresh the numbers like we've just seen. And then we can set up however we want to depart. So usually it's 1+F for takeoff. At the moment we're not going to use any anti-ice. The air conditioning however will be on. And the weather we need to make sure is synced. So QNH 1003. We can press that to resync and we can see the wind direction and speed and temperatures reset. We just need to fix the QNH. Place in our departure airport, e.g. LL. We'll change that to 09 right. And actually, because we've selected the runway, it's automatically pre-populated that for us. So we just need to check the data. That's slightly incorrect. So we'll just use what we've got from the charts. And 3658, I'll take 8 feet off, 8 meters off, and the runway heading is set. Currently, runway condition is dry. It's been a frosty day, however, and the airport elevation is 24 meters. So those of you like myself who use feet, currently you need to convert that into meters. Press calculate, and then we get our V speeds. Now, speaking of meters for the elevation, if we press the cog, we can change this to imperial for aircraft settings EFB units. And you can see there it changes the elevation to feet, but it also changes the runway length to feet and the gross weight to pounds. There's no hybrid option. In the middle, we'll talk about it just very briefly. We can get our cockpit preparation checklists all completed, and we can work through all of the different checklists. And the other button here is the new ground services tab, which is very exciting. Looks really sweet. Business, Premium Plus and Economy. We've got all of our cargo loads and the fuel balance of the aircraft too. We can press jetty stairs. And we can toggle events like jetties. And we can also open up the doors, add in special steps, and get the aeroplane looking like we are preparing for a departure. Simple click of each button activates each of these little features or assets, and then a click again deletes them too. If they're red, they're active. If they're white, they're closed and secure. We can then click across on the tab to pushback, and you can see here that we've actually got our own pushback services menu within the EFB. Nice and simple: back, left, right, disconnect tug and parking brake as the options there. And that, folks, is it, except for the meta on the home page tab, which we can type in and get as just an extra little function there, a little feature for you on the home screen to let you see in a nice visual format what the weather is currently doing. Everything else you should of course be more than likely familiar with or getting to grips with. Hope you're enjoying the product, and I hope you found this video informative and useful as always. Thanks for watching. We'll see you very soon. Take care.